Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Ed Bowen. I'm Glenn McGowan, and today we're going to be starting off a new build series. We're going to be taking that 1973 Corvette and turning it into a drift car. So I'm not going to turn it into the type of drift car that I'm going to take it out, smash it into a wall, and make it all ratty, but I'm going to do like a drift car theme to it. So hydro handbrake, converting it to stick shift. I have this 355 that I'm building that I disassembled in last week's video. So we're gonna build that. We're gonna do a 4-speed swap in it. We're gonna hook up hydro handbrake. I'm gonna end up doing probably some custom suspension work eventually and changing out the wheels and tires. So as of right now, that is the plan. When I was thinking about it last week, when I was pulling out the engine, I'm like, that would actually be a really cool build. And I really wanna make the car more fun to drive. And I feel like this is kind of the direction that I wanna go with it. So we're gonna just do a couple little things today. I'm gonna show you all the stuff that I kind of have been accumulating to make this swap possible. I picked up my trans, I picked up my shifter, I got the hydro handbrake. I'm still waiting on a couple parts for the engine and stuff like that, but we'll get to all of that. I'm just trying to get everything I need right now to kind of like put everything together so we can swap over everything kind of at once. So that's the plan. So let's just go take a look at everything that I have, and maybe we'll start mounting the handbrake today. This week's video is brought to you by atmosbowen.com. Shop our site for Corvette performance parts. We now have our new DIY cat delete pipes back in stock, our new test pipes, and we now have a new version of our hose kit available. This is for 88 to 91. This includes a fitting that you can hook your hose directly up to the hose that's on your car on the firewall. So check out the link in the description or visit atmosbowen.com. All right, so for anybody just tuning in, just do a quick walk around, a little brief on the car. So 73 Stingray Corvette. It's got FiTech fuel injection on it, Doug's header side exhaust, pretty much the stock 350 that was in it, so it doesn't make a ton of power. Other than that, I have Corbeau race seats in it, a Sparco removable steering wheel, like a custom carbon center console, which I'm going to change since I'm going to convert it to stick. But I'll do just a quick walk around. They're like 17x8 torque thrusts on it. Le Mans gas caps, and they're carbon deck vents. It's one of the products that we make. So this is just the starting off point. Okay, so starting with the engine that I'm going to use, 355 there. The bottom is pretty much ready to roll. It was rebuilt, and it has a little cam in it, double roller timing chains, a 4-bolt main. I'm going to clean that up, paint it, get a set of aluminum heads, roller rockers, performance intake manifold that I have, and then I'm going to just use my FiTech fuel injection on it, so it should make a decent amount of power. Something's way better than what's in there now, and somewhat reliable. There's nothing that's too extreme, so that's what I'm going to use for an engine. So now as far as transmissions are concerned, this is what I'm going to use. Okay, behind me is a Muncie 4-speed. I'm a big fan of 4-speeds. I have a Rock Crusher in the red 69 over there, which is an M22 Muncie, which is an awesome trans. The reason why I'm going with the 4-speed is that this is a 70s car, so I kind of like the iconic 4-speed. Also, like, unless you're daily driving this, you don't need 2 overdrives like a 6-speed has. If you're just kicking it around town, a 4-speed's all you need, and a 4-speed is enough just to kind of rip up and down and have a blast with it and not have to really worry too much about, like, if it breaks, you can go out. There's plenty of them out there. Any of the M20 Muncies, the M21, M22, the Super T10, Borg Warner trans, all those 4-speeds, there's a lot of them out there, like on Facebook Marketplace, that you can get for like $1,000. So my plan was just to grab, you know, a 4-speed, run it. If you blow it up or break it, it's so much cheaper than if you went and got like a used T56, can be like $3,500, not to mention like a brand new one. So I'm like, it's a 70s car, it's kind of like a 70s themed drift car, so 4-speed is kind of like the perfect setup. And also, because I have a turbo 400 in that, I can actually use my drive shaft, which is also a plus. So I don't have to worry too much about making, you know, custom drive shaft or anything like that. It's kind of essentially what would have came in the car back in the day. So that's what I'm going with. Okay, like with that transmission, you need a shifter, obviously. So I hunted down a Hurst Competition Plus 4-speed shifter, which is probably like one of the better shifters that you can get. Hurst shifters are really good. The original Muncie shifters are supposedly not that good. So I did hunt one of those down, mainly because I also have one on the 69. It's a Hurst Competition, which is a great shifter. My shifter handle is actually lower in the 69. I did a short throw shifter on that, which I'm going to do with this as well. So I found one of these on Facebook Marketplace too, which you can get. Sometimes they can be a little pricey, but I did find one locally, which I grabbed. So I'm going to run that on that transmission too. We will make a shifter handle for it, or I'm sorry, like a shifter like the stick itself. We will modify that at some point. But for right now, you know, I'm just trying to get everything I need to kind of put this together. I do have a bell housing too for the transmission, which I already have. The only thing I have to get would be like the pedal kit to convert from the auto to stick pedal, the brake pedal and stuff like that. But I'll have to order that stuff. You can get that stuff new too, which is kind of nice. So this is the Hydro handbrake I went with. So there are like a ton out there. There's a lot of like really cheap ones for like 30 bucks on like Amazon and eBay. And then there's a lot more like nicer ones like Chase Bays, Drift HQ makes one. There's a bunch of more high-end ones, what I would say, that are in like professional drift cars. So I did some research for a while trying to find something decent. I was going to go with the Chase Bays one. The reason why I didn't was like, this is more supposed to be like a budget-friendly build, I guess. And I just wanted to show some more options that are like cheaper alternatives to build one of these cars, because there's a lot of like, let's say 75 to like early 80s, like 80, 81, even 82 Corvettes, like those generation Corvettes that you could still buy for a couple $1,000s. And granted, they do need a lot of work, but there's automatic ones out there that you can get, and then doing this like 4-speed swap or throwing any kind of engine in it. And I also wanted to, you know, show you that you can get some like cheaper things like this to put in and, you know, kind of hop up the car a little bit, turn it into a drift car if you wanted to. But this seems to be like one of the better ones. This was at like $100 price point. The frame of it's metal. I watched a guy do a review on YouTube of this one specifically, and he said it was pretty decent and all the reviews were pretty good. And seeing it, looking at it, I'm like, it does look like it's a pretty decent quality for the dollars. I think this is supposed to be like a replica of a better version of one, but it seems pretty decent so far. Obviously, once we get it on the car and bleed it out, check, make sure the master cylinder is not leaking, stuff like that. So theory behind this is we're gonna mount this somewhere in the car next to the shifter. I'm going to run brake lines from this back to the rear calipers or brake lines. So normally you would bolt another set of calipers to the back. Now, this being a C3 Corvette, they don't have a lot of like options for doing that. It's more like, you know, I guess they probably have like some crazy like Wilwood setup or something that's thousands of dollars, but to me, I'm like, it's kind of stupid. I don't really want to spend that on just a set of calipers or change everything in the rear. I am going to still do a little bit of research on seeing what I can actually do, and maybe something that I can fabricate to mount another set of calipers on the back of the trailing arms of those, but that'll be something like down the line. So in the meantime, I am going to hook this up to the existing brake line. So this will actually activate the rear brake lines and the rear brake calipers by itself. So the only problem with that, when you're hooking into the actual brake system, you get feedback as you're pulling this and stepping on the brakes. They're almost like fighting each other a little bit. So obviously, if you are trying to be a professional and set your car up, that's probably not the best way to do that, because you don't want that at all. But for me, just kicking around and locking up the rear wheels here and there, obviously I'm not gonna have my foot on the brake, but if you're competing or, you know, actually going out drifting, it may be like a problem down the line. I haven't dealt with any of that. That's just, you know, the kind of science behind the hydraulics and what I hear from people. So as of right now, I'm gonna hook this up to just the rear calipers and see how that goes. Once I get the rear wheels off and stuff like that, I am gonna play around with some ideas, trying to make up caliper mounts or something like that, using maybe another set of calipers or something, but I don't know. We'll get to that down the line. But this is that. I think it's $100. It seems really good. The quality seems pretty decent. It's all billet. I'm just gonna have to make some sort of mount for this. I'm gonna make some sort of plate or something that actually bolts to the car, and then this will bolt to that. So I guess we're gonna just get to that. I'm gonna put my center console and stuff like that up, and maybe we'll find a place. All right, so I'm gonna take this up. Obviously this automatic shifter is not gonna be here. Get this thing out of the way. So, thinking, I'm gonna probably end up taking the factory e-brake out of the way too. I might take this center console piece out, but I gotta take some measurements off of the 69, but I wanna mount it kind of somewhere like this, I'm thinking. So, the shifter will be here and I'll have it over here. It's just be too close on the inside from here to the steering column. I'll probably be locking the wheels up, just like going up the street, running errands and putting the thing into the ditch. So I'm gonna keep it to the right of the shifter. That's the plan of right now. It looks like there's probably enough room to make something in here, but I'm gonna probably pull all this up. I'm gonna get a piece of metal, take some measurements. I gotta order some brake lines and fittings, all that kind of stuff, because I'm gonna just run the brake lines back through here in between the seats and then down underneath the car. So I'm gonna just clean some of this up and just kind of brainstorm some ideas to make a bracket for this. Okay, so that's the plan for now. I do have to order a bunch of stuff. I'm probably gonna work on that handbrake, get that mounted in the car while I'm getting all the stuff for the engine and the transmission, the clutch, all that kind of stuff like that. So I'm kind of just gonna put a list together, order everything I need, and then just slowly kind of bounce back and forth and put everything together. I'm probably gonna complete the engine, have the trans, everything all bolted up, and then when that's all together, I'll pluck everything out, because this car runs and drives still. It's like still running, and I don't know if I'm gonna drive it now, but I like to get the handbrake in there and test that first, so we can kind of, you know, rip that around a little bit before I swap out the drivetrain. So that's the plan right now. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.